what have you completed this week? If rehearsing, what scenes did you rehearse? Well, it was our dress run, and we did it at the Pomegranate, and so we went through as many scenes as we could, and it was really important for people who were assigned to bring on tables, chairs, anything like that, or to take them off. It was really important for them to remember what was happening, so that the transitions were really quick, as well as obviously remembering lines and making sure that the lines, especially in the factory, like, were really snappy, because it is meant to be a comical performance. And also we sat down and we went through the whole script to sort out who was doing blacks in, blacks out, and that just means who was railing in the curtains or pulling back the curtains, which was really important. And then later in the day, I was told to make a sheet just based on the blacks in, blacks out, and give the cue line and say the person who's supposed to do it at that point, which I think was really helpful because it was backstage and everyone was checking it just to make sure that what they were doing was right. So checking at what point do they pull in the blacks or put the blacks on stage. So it was more of a tech run, but obviously we redid some of the scenes which weren't working with the music at some points. What went well in the scenes? Well, I think in general, because we were suddenly on stage, I think everybody's energy went up 100%. And I think the lines, even though some of the lines were a little bit slow, in general I think a lot of the lines were comically funny, so people got the right timings, and I think it was well projected considering some of the microphones was turned off. And with my scenes, I think I just remembered my block and what we did before, which I was really nervous about because I thought maybe I'd forget. And I was happy with the progress that I made and that I maintained it on stage. And it was the atmosphere that I wanted to create, I think, was created because of kind of just the pauses and the way I was projecting my lines across to the audience and to Mr. Hopkins. And so I think the lines in general for the whole performance went well. Everybody knew their lines and everybody was given their all, I think. What went less well? I think what went less well was probably a lot of the time maybe people weren't sure when to bring them on, and also, or for example, the sewing machines, I think people underestimated how heavy they actually were, so it was really difficult to push them on. And so the transition from Busy Woman to the factory was a little slow, but I think that was just down to how heavy the machines were, and that was the first time we actually practiced with them. So obviously it did slow down the transition, but Rita and Beryl improved and it made it a lot more natural as well. And but there were a few times during the performance where obviously things weren't being taken on which were supposed to, and that maybe I think we had to redo a few scenes to make sure that the transition was as snappy as it could be, because every transition in a musical needs to be clean and nothing can be left and nothing can just be on, nothing can just stay on stage. For example, like you can't have the Prime Minister's chair on set for payday. So I think some people, including myself, forgot a particular job that they were supposed to do, such as bringing on a chair. So I think it was going through the script and making yourself aware of every job that you had to do. And there were also some props that we literally couldn't get through the the kind of the openings in on stage, and it was really, really difficult. And also during my first scene, the duck egg scene, it did feel a little bit rushed because I think an extra person was supposed to like help us take the table and 2 chairs on, so it was a little bit stressful getting out there. And I think one of the glasses smashed, so it was not the best transition. What do you need to improve on for next session? I think I need to go over the script and make myself aware of all the jobs that need doing for transitions. And I need to make sure that the table is all set so that I don't need to worry. But also don't do it too early, because otherwise there's people in payday who need to grab some chairs and tables off stage, and if my table that is like perfectly laid out is in the way, then obviously people won't be able to get off stage quick enough. So I need to be ready, but I can't be ready too early, which was a problem before. And I also need to make sure that when I'm, especially in the scene when I'm trying to console Rita, or in the duck egg scene, I can't step out too much, because otherwise I'd be stepping out into a blackout. Because there's normally, when I'm on stage, there's Rita's house or my house, and there's like a spotlight on half the stage, and then there's a blackout on the other side. And sometimes I stepped a bit too much into the blackout, which wasn't very good, because obviously at some point you couldn't really see me. So I need to make sure that I stay within that area so people can actually acknowledge me. What songs, dances have you worked on? Well, we worked on Stand Up and Our Bows, and we also obviously went through at the start Busy Woman, I Won, and Everybody Out, I think. And what went well was that, as I've said before, everybody's energy improved so much, and everybody looked like they were, I think our costume and our makeup definitely helped, because I think we all kind of felt that we were in that era as soon as we were on stage. And I think everyone's facial expressions, include more so like the ensemble, really helped the songs like Payday to become more upbeat, and like hopefully it would make the audience like kind of want to join in too, because it looks like we're all like having a good time. And also the people who were singing backstage with the microphones were like all in key, and I think the ensemble was like really, really strong. Also, when we did stand up at the end of the dress rehearsal, I think the choice to for the woman to just walk on and stand right beside Rita instead of going around the stage and around the men was much better because it made the performance a lot cleaner. And I think we were all in tune, and even more so because, as I've said before, we taught we made it clear that the people who couldn't hit the notes, like couldn't sing the end note, as well as storm clouds, which is what happened, because there's a really high note in storm clouds where people were trying to hit it and it sounded a bit off. But now we've got a set group of people who are going to just sing that high note at the end of storm clouds, and some people are going to not sing some of the high notes in everybody in stand up, just so the harmonies are much better. But I think in the lines where we could all sing, I think it was really powerful, and it was there was no, we were definitely projecting, because I think the music was like in time with us all, and so we weren't rushing and we weren't trying to slow down our pace. It was like just the right timing. What went less well, there was a problem during payday where there is a bit of speech from Rita, Connie and Beryl, and either the musical guy or the microphone guy stopped the whole song because he said that there was nothing he could do about